Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Copper Dragons here, and I'm going to be playing some more LEGO Marvel Superheroes. So let's hop right in and continue the game. Now, last time, I challenged both Abomination and Sandman as Spider-Man, Hulk, and Iron Man. And that was pretty much the entirety of the first level. So let's hop right in and start level 2. Alright, now I should be playing as Captain America and Mr. Fantastic. Honestly, two really good characters in my opinion, from what I've seen of both of them. So yeah. You know what? I don't know if, other countries have their own version of, Captain America in the Marvel Universe, like Latveria, Russia, China, all these other countries. I don't know if they have their own specific version of Captain America,
Gentlemen,
Captain China,
building,
Captain
pronto.
Russia,
Cosmic bricks
Captain Latveria, so on and so forth. I just wonder if other countries in the Marvel Universe ever did something like that in the main 616 universe. I think they might have done that in other universes. But I'm talking about specifically in 616. Also, I'm gonna have to collect as many studs as possible because, well, I want to at least try and, get some characters that I can get with studs, before I end up, trying to finish up this main story. Since, Marvel is my more favorite out of the two big names in the comic book industry. So yeah, I want to at least try and get as many characters as possible. Also, right here, I'm gonna have to try and build up a lot of stuff. To try and see what I can do. I don't remember exactly how to get out of here, but I know it's some way. Wait. There's something I can destroy right here with this lamppost. Let's just try and do that. It seems like it's something for Mr. Fantastic. Since, stretchy characters usually do have those kind of panels built for themselves. Classic Man did that in the LEGO Batman games. I'm pretty sure Elastigirl has that in LEGO, in LEGO Incredibles. I'm pretty sure he does there. Wow, come to think of it, there aren't too many, stretchy characters, because a lot of LEGO games are more set, and grounded in reality, come to think of it, So, it's kind of weird hearing a LEGO game set more close to reality. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's hard to think about actual superpowers being involved with LEGO games outside of, the Marvel and DC games. Even then, there aren't too many of those. Heck, there's only, the LEGO Marvel Avengers games, and then the LEGO Batman games, and that's pretty much it. Because they're only, the LEGO Marvel superhero games and LEGO Batman games. In terms of, superhero, big-name superheroes. Then there's the Incredibles. And then, past those, there aren't really too much else, in terms of superheroes. There aren't really anywhere else, too much, superhero media representation in LEGO, come to think of it. Especially in the game department. It just kind of sounds weird to say. Even then, the LEGO, a large portion of media that's used, superhero media, aren't exactly, full-on, superhero games, the Lego Movie video game that has superhero characters like Superman, Batman, and Green Lantern. But
the
past
top 5
that,
floors of the
aren't
Baxter
too
Building
many.
are home to the Fantastic Four. Up-to-date plans are unavailable, as Reed Richards is continuously reconfiguring the layout of his labs.
You know what? I want to see... Like, I don't remember too much about this game because I barely played it as much in comparison to my other LEGO games. But yeah. Okay. Seems like I gotta fight Doc Ock here. And it seems like it's more akin to, like, you know, the original design and the Sam Raimi
Dr. Doom,
series.
it's Dr. Octopus.
You know?
I found it. Yeah.
Like, I know that the guy who played Doc Ock in the Sam Raimi movies, I know that he did a bit more series, but he does look pretty comic accurate to the original design. No.
I won't be stopped by
and this
such
is basically like a LEGO
creatures.
fight version of it.
Give it up,
of that
Octavius.
original design.
It won't be a stretch to defeat
So
you.
yeah. Wait, is LEGO fight the correct term to use there? Like, I'm just trying to use the LEGO aesthetic in combination of, you know, turning a design into that.
Get him!
Alright, I'm gonna have to build.
You won't get away with those pieces, Dr.
But I'm gonna have to
Octopus.
destroy these robots first. Before I can actually manage to do that. Now I'm gonna need Mr. Fantastic whenever I get done building this. So yeah. Okay, it seems like it's a water pump thing or something. Wait, it's a screwdriver. Man, I sure feel dumb for not realizing that it's a screwdriver. So let's swap over to Captain America and just, you know, use that right there.
Dr. Richards. For such an inferior.
Okay, seems like I'm gonna have to try and get on this panel to try and catch up the Doc Ock. Yeah, this LEGO, I mean,
I'll
not
be
LEGO, but
taking my
level is gonna be a bit more lengthy, I think.
Substantial.
So yeah. Now I'm gonna need Captain America.
He's heading for the roof.
And his
Let's get after him, Cap.
Since, you know, all guarding-based objects, like shields, plates, and other stuff that can be held, usually those can walk out fires, as seen in, like, the LEGO Batman games, and, of course, this game, too. I need to try and see what I can do to put out these fires. I have no clue how I'm going to get past all of it. Maybe I can try and build like a sprinkler system or something. I have no clue what I gotta do right here specifically, but I know it's something. Wait. I know I gotta get a grapple hook, but the only character that would make sense here is just, you know, Mr. Fantastic. Okay, here's something I can build. So let's just try and see what else I can do. Okay, there's a grapple hook unit that I needed to get done. I wasn't expecting it to work like that, considering it just doesn't make sense whenever you think about it. It just doesn't really make sense how that would link up just by building a plate on a wall. You know, for Reed to fit through. Okay, I'm gonna need Steve to get, you know, Captain America to get back through here. Especially with this shield. Since, you know, that's like one of the main puzzle objects I need right now. Okay, at least it didn't send me too far back. You know what, the main game I really want to get done in this LEGO Marvel series is mostly LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. Mostly due to the fact that it's my favorite game that I've fully played out of the series. I haven't finished up LEGO Marvel Avengers, like, ever. But I have finished up LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2, and honestly, it's really fun. Easily one of my favorite LEGO games ever. You know, that I've particularly played anyways. Now, my least favorite LEGO game, easily LEGO Worlds. Mostly due to the fact that it just needlessly gets so complicated. Like, not necessarily, like, in comparison to other LEGO games, but I'm talking about, like, in what you need to specifically get done. It just gets so tiring and needlessly confusing, and just how everything gets done. Now the story isn't confusing, it's just how you gotta get everything put together to actually get to that, what's considered to be the end. Now there isn't no straightforward story in LEGO Worlds, but there is like a final area that you can actually go to, and once you get everything done there, you might as well just finish up the game, or at least consider it done anyways. So yeah. Basically, the entirety of the plot of LEGO Worlds is basically just, astronaut lands on planet, and you gotta travel the entire galaxy to get home. Basically, one of the most generic plots ever. You know, like for a sci-fi, for at least a somewhat semi-sci-fi story. You know, like it's so needlessly simplified.
Maybe we should think about
But
this.
yeah, for what it is, it's like kind of complex for what LEGO World is, considering it never had too much of a plot anyways. So yeah, let's just try and see what I can get done here. Yeah, I need to try and get down these Octobots. Man, if only we ever saw them in the Insomniac Spider-Man games, that would have been honestly kind of fun to see Octobots being put into like the Insomniac Spider-Man games. Wait. J. Jonah Jameson is running from New York Mayor as a sign of this billboard. Who would vote for him? I mean, come on. Like, who in their right mind would vote for J. Jonah Jameson of all people? You know, one of the most infamous slanderers in all of fiction, and one of the biggest haters too. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say outright hater. He's the only person he really even hates, like, canonically, is just Spider-Man. You know, and anyone besides that, especially his employees, treats relatively well. And that's honestly, and speaking of which, that's honestly something I haven't really seen too many people actively nail for Jonah's character. You know, like that's actively something I wish that they would nail more. Like yeah, there's I believe the Sam Raimi movies, and then there's Spectacular Spider-Man. Those have relatively handled both of those really well. Otherwise, though, not so much. Especially in the Insomniac games, coming into that, because like, there's just no way that Jonah would treat his employees so badly. You know, especially with how he was shown to treat Peter, basically almost like a large portion of other Spider-Man related medias. You know, he would, like, if anything, he's shown to treat his employees like family, if anything. You know, most evidently so with Peter, though he doesn't know he's Spider-Man. You know, like it's most evidently so with Peter that he treats his employees like family. And that's honestly something I don't really see too many Spider-Man-based media really portray, like, at all.
What's the plan?
If anything, I've seen more instances of Jonah being shown to treat his employees like dirt, than actively, you know, treating his employees well, like he's supposed to. You know, actively so anyways. You know, it just really doesn't work when everything about it. That's one big thing I really dislike about the Insomniac Spider-Man games. Is that for the little time we do actively see and hear from Jonah, it's nothing like how he's supposed to act and behave. You know, as what he's shown to be as a boss. You know, like that's something that I really hope that they work on for Spider-Man 3 if that ever comes out. You know, if Spider-Man 3 ever comes out, I hope that they actively try and work on the characterization of both MJ and Jonah. because both characters frankly need a lot of work in comparison to previous games. MJ, especially since, you know, she's been talking to death about how the games basically assassinate the character. Especially on this channel, come to think of it. Yeah, I've talked about that to death. So yeah. Let's just, you know what, let's move off that subject for right now and just try and focus on beating this level. Yeah, I need to knock down this hotel sign. Just to be able to continue. Okay. Also, I'm recording this video like a day before, just like my last No More Heroes video. And also my last Resident Evil 6 video. So yeah. Just keep that in mind. Mostly, I just wanted to try and stream, the day after I'm getting this recorded. So yeah. Or at least, you know, try and, you know, get some stuff done quickly while I have the time to do so. So yeah. Let's just try and get all this done real quick. Since, you know, I kind of have some stuff I need to get done with this. Okay, that's ladders down, so let's go ahead and just get through this. And now I have all of this to get done with this parkour segment. Yeah, that really sucks. Okay. Now I need to get rid of Mr. Fantastic. Wait, there's something I can build right here. And it's a shield panel. Let's just get that done real quick. Yeah, I don't really have too much I want to talk about right now, because most of it I've already talked about with, like, other videos. And a lot of the stuff I talked about here is just mostly stuff that's relating to Marvel as a whole, you know? So, not really much of subjects. Hopefully I can get this level done, within a more reasonable time frame.
Careful, Dr. Richards. It's a long way down.
Yeah, what do you think I'm trying to do, Steve? Let's just go ahead and just try and get this done. And just move on with the rest of the game and level. Also, keep in mind, I will be trying to work on other LEGO games too. It's just that I want to work on them one at a time from now on. And same thing goes for whenever I finish up Resident Evil 1 and 6. Same goes for those two games too. It's just that right now I have 2 Resident Evil games I need to get done. That's pretty much the only reason that I have to work on both of them. So yeah. Wait, what do I gotta do here? I know it has to do something with those gutter things, considering, you know, all of this with Doc Ock. I just don't know how I'm gonna get to the horn that I obviously need to get to do. I just don't know what I can really do with all of this. Wait, oh. That makes a lot of sense that I had to hit him off. That makes way too much sense, if I'm being honest. So let's go ahead and pull down the horn and just, I guess, do whatever I can with it. Seems like it's a panel for Mr. Fantastic. You know what? I wonder, I don't remember. Do we get to use the thing? Or,
what are you doing? No!
You know, like, Sue Storm,
Parker, do your job. I want some play for
Visible Woman, and
Yes,
crap,
sir.
I can't remember
Nutface.
Johnny.
You understand the web, don't you?
I can't remember his
The
hero
web?
name, but it's
Yeah.
him.
It's a job and a
So
hobby.
yeah.
Doc Octopus? You're a real doctor, right? Because I have a pain right here, and it goes down there. Ooh, if I bend over there, then wow.
Your cheap health plan doesn't cover office visits.
Okay, let's just see what I can do. So yeah.
I need some footage of this for the website.
Hopefully this is the end of the level. I don't think it is, for pretty obvious reasons, but still.
Your smartphone, JJ.
Considering Spider-Man is about to join in. Wow. I just now realized Spider-Man's been involved with both of the last 2 levels.
Hey guys.
That's honestly kind of weird whenever you think about it. Considering, well, one, both the first and second level are the only levels I've played so far. We've went up against at least one Spider-Man villain, and both times, Spider-Man has been involved. Yeah, Hulk has got involved with the first level since Abomination is one of his villains, but so far we haven't encountered, like, in a full-on boss fight with them. You know, a Fantastic Four villain, a Captain America villain, or an Iron Man villain, since those are the only other characters we've really been introduced to in this game so far. You know, and I think that's kind of weird. You know, since they're also just as prevalent in the level as Spider-Man and Hulk. You know, if not more prevalent actually, considering, you know, how Spider-Man has only joined in at the end of the level. Probably because he's more actual in like what he can do. You know, since he has more active abilities than just stretching a shield and all this other stuff than every other character we've seen. Heck, Hulk, he doesn't even have his full power set in this game, considering he has regeneration, you know, all this other stuff too, besides just simple super strength. It just seems kind of odd, you know, that Hulk doesn't even have all his powers. But either way, let's just try and see what I can do with the remainder of this level. Hopefully I can beat it. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna need Reed to do all this. And then I'm gonna need Steve to get over here, Captain America. Since, you know, he's also part of this level too. And I might need his abilities soon, considering I've used the other 2 characters, so yeah, might as well try and find use for him sometime soon. Okay. I don't know if Captain America will have an ability soon, or at least an ability usage. Okay, let's just go ahead and use Reed here, Mr. Fantastic. You know what? Honestly, the first introduction I've ever had to this game is with, actually the demo. I played it like a few years before I actually ever owned the full game. And from what I remember, I think it only contained like the first level, with Sandman and Abomination. I think it only ever contained that. Which honestly feels kind of weird. Considering that just feels way too short for what a demo's meant to be. But then again, demos aren't usually too much, and they don't contain too much content of a game. So yeah, even then, but still, regardless, that was only like, what, 14 minutes of playtime throughout the entire game. So yeah, it just feels weird that the demo contains such little active gameplay. You know? Wow, of course he punched out a sign of sushi.
Victory is now within my reach.
That is kind of ironic since he's not even an actual fish.
On the spider.
You know? That's still kind of ironic.
You couldn't wrap me in a paper towel and toss me out the window?
You're on a fish, Spider-Man.
No! What happened? Octobot!
I don't know what happened there, but you landed on some gutters and some cars.
He seems over the top angry. Any advice?
Let's
Don't look at
try and
me.
take out
You're the Doc
Ock
Ock expert.
Since that's all I really can do. Just try and take out the rest of, like, all of his health. Since that's pretty much all you can do as any character in this game, or for any boss for that matter.
He's trapped his arm in the ground. Let's attack while we can.
Let's try and see what I can do. Just try and take out his arm. You know, since he needed to take out all 4 of them, I think he's down to 3 arms out of his 4. Yeah, quit destroying the ground already. You're making it harder and harder to move around with, you know, the limiting of movement opportunity in space. And you're making it difficult for your arm to get caught. Okay, let's swap back to Spider-Man. The only reason I swapped away is just to keep my studs up. Since, you know, every time you die in a Lego game, you lose studs. Wait, let's take out his arm here. Okay. There we go. One of them, that makes 2 of them down. Now all I've got is just the remaining bottom 2. Quit destroying the ground, you humanoid octopus! Jesus Christ. Wait, didn't I just kill Reed Richards instead of an Octobot? Jesus Christ, that sounds kind of wild out of context when you think about it. So yeah, let's just try and destroy the remaining 2 arms.
Why didn't I see this coming?
Yeah, all I have is just this last arm to destroy, and then I should be done with this boss fight.
Beloved mechanical arm. You'll suffer for this.
Okay, there we go. Well, I didn't even have to destroy all 4 arms. I just needed to destroy 3 of them.
Give it up. Crime never pays.
You'd be surprised. It covers medical and dental. Can't escape the long reach of justice, Ark.
Yeah, why can't you just all
being
try
so
and reach
grabby,
for it
Doc.
at once? You have 6 hands. He only has, what, 4 extra arms? Oh, I gotta fight Goblin now. Oh, crap. That's stupid. That I gotta fight Goblin. Wait, never mind. I don't even have to do that. I thought I had to fight Goblin now. Oh my god, that would have taken so much longer than what it should have taken, if anything. Yeah. Wait, that's Ego, the living planet. The only reason I know that is because of the MCU. Okay, there's Black Widow and Hawkeye,
We lost the
also known as the 2 of the most useless
Don't worry,
Avengers
we're tracking him.
in comparison to
Target
the rest.
He's gone
Like,
to the
no
Oscorp
shame to
building.
Hawkeye
Got a
or
Green Goblin one
Black
and a
Widow,
totally
but
legitimate and
in
entirely
comparison
unsuspicious
to the
office tower
other
like Oscorp.
Avengers,
Let's go
they are
find out.
by
That won't
far
be
some of the
necessary,
most
Mr. Richards.
useless
Fantastic.
on the entire team.
Dr. Richards.
So yeah,
Director Fury needs you and Kat back at the lab.
We need to know more about these special bricks and what they can do.
Then let's try to figure that out. We've got to. Because with great power comes great responsibility.
oh my god, that was such a cornball line. From the sheer amount that has been repeated in what, the last 60 plus years of Spider-Man's entire existence. Like, no shame,
we'll
it
find
does
our own
carry a
way
lot
out
of weight,
then.
but it is such a
It'll be easy with this
cornball
mess they
line,
left
if
behind.
anything. Alright, let's just try and see if I can, you know, buy any characters real quick. Wait, I can't even buy any characters right now? You know what? Either way, that's going to be the end of today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.